What if I told you that the life you are meticulously building right now, the one that looks perfect on social media, is actually the biggest lie you've ever told yourself? You feel that persistent, low-grade emptiness, don't you? That chilling sensation that something fundamental is missing, even when you appear to have everything figured out. Today, we are ripping off the Band-Aid and exposing the terrifying, subtle signs that you are actively ignoring the vibrant, messy, powerful person you were truly meant to be. This isn't just about feeling happier. This is about reclaiming your destiny and stopping the tragic slide toward a life filled with what-ifs. Get ready for some radical honesty. Hey there, beautiful souls. I hope everyone is having a moment of peace today, though I know diving into self-reflection can sometimes feel like anything but peaceful. Look, we've all been there, smiling through the exhaustion, telling ourselves we're fine, all while the little voice inside is screaming for a change. I know that voice intimately. For years, I played a role, thinking success meant external validation and achieving benchmarks set by others. I became a master of people-pleasing until I looked in the mirror one day and realized I had absolutely no idea who was looking back. This journey to recognizing and honoring your authentic self is difficult, messy, but profoundly necessary. Let's dive deep into the first crucial sign you're avoiding your truth. Because understanding the symptoms is the first step toward healing the root cause. The first massive red flag, one that your body waves furiously, is chronic, unexplainable fatigue. And I'm not talking about, I stayed up late watching that compelling true crime documentary, tired. I mean the deep soul-level exhaustion that coffee can't even begin to touch. When you are constantly operating outside your natural energy flow, pretending to be someone you aren't, or forcing yourself into activities that drain your spirit, your physical body pays a catastrophic price. Your entire emotional operating system is burning too many resources just maintaining a complex, heavy facade. Think about it. Carrying around a fake identity all day is truly exhausting work. If you wake up tired and go to sleep tired, even after adequate physical rest, your soul might actually be waving a massive white flag, begging you to just stop the show and rest in your truth. I distinctly remember a period where I was doing a highly paid job I truly hated, but it looked incredibly impressive on my resume and LinkedIn profile. Every single morning, putting on my professional work clothes felt less like dressing and more like putting on heavy armor for a battle I didn't want to fight. I was physically and emotionally drained by 10 a.m. Not primarily because of the intense workload, but because the sheer pretense and the constant need to perform a version of myself that wasn't real was so incredibly heavy. This deep, persistent fatigue isn't just a physical phenomenon. It's a symptom of profound internal misalignment. It's your authentic self trying to shut down the performance because it knows this act of self-betrayal is completely unsustainable. Pay close attention to those low-energy reserves. They are whispering, "Stop pushing a boulder uphill that wasn't yours to push in the first place." Okay. Sign number 2 is the incredibly insidious need for external validation that creeps into every facet of your decision-making. If your baseline happiness is a direct function of how many likes, compliments, or promotions you manage to receive, you are absolutely stuck in the debilitating approval trap. We frequently confuse being liked by others with being true to ourselves. When you ignore your own core values and deeply held convictions, you naturally start relying entirely on other people's fleeting opinions to define your entire self-worth. You find yourself subtly molding your personality and your dreams to fit rigid societal expectations or the specific desires of a critical partner or demanding parent. This behavior, while seemingly harmless, ensures you are never the star of your own movie. You are relegated to being just a supporting character in everyone else's endless expectations. This approval-seeking sign often manifests as an intense, crippling fear of disappointing others, even strangers. Seriously, Tell me if this resonates with your experience. Do you constantly agree to attend events or take on extra commitments you absolutely dread because saying the simple word no feels physically painful? Like a deep betrayal? That agonizing pain you feel is the sound of your inner voice, being violently silenced and suppressed for the sake of temporary social harmony or avoiding confrontation. Your true self has firm boundaries, distinct preferences, and crucial non-negotiables that protect your energy. When you constantly violate those fundamental needs for fear of judgment or rejection, you are unintentionally screaming to the universe that everyone else's comfort and perception of you matters exponentially more than your own irreplaceable inner peace. That, my friends, is a catastrophic signal of profound self-betrayal. Let's shift gears and talk about the next sign: obsessive distraction. If you frequently find yourself scrolling endlessly through social media feeds, binge-watching 4 entire seasons of a show in a weekend, or overcommitting to trivial, time-consuming activities just to frantically avoid moments of silence, that, my friends, is a massive, flashing sign. Distraction, especially the digital kind, is the modern, highly effective equivalent of plugging your ears when your deepest soul is desperately trying to speak to you. The true self thrives and flourishes in quiet introspection and thoughtful contemplation. But when we are constantly running from our own reality, we actively seek noise, chaos, and busyness to drown out the truth. We become terrified of sitting alone with our thoughts because deep down, we instinctively know those quiet thoughts will instantly reveal the uncomfortable, necessary truth we've been painstakingly burying for years. Try this gentle but revealing experiment. Sometime soon, sit in a quiet room for just 10 minutes with absolutely no external input, no phone, no music, no book, no TV, just you and your rapidly surfacing thoughts. If that simple activity sounds utterly terrifying, if your anxiety skyrockets immediately, take a deep breath and ask yourself honestly, what specific realization or painful memory are you so desperately trying to outrun and avoid? Your true self communicates through incredibly subtle whispers, gentle nudges, and recurring images. If you're constantly bombarding your senses with loud external stimuli, those vital whispers become completely drowned out, leading you further and further down the desolate path of inauthenticity and spiritual bankruptcy. Sign number 4 is relationship misalignment. And this one cuts deep into the core of your existence. Take a moment and deeply examine the people you spend the majority of your precious time with. Do your closest friends and partners truly see the raw, unedited you? Or do they only see the meticulously crafted persona you created years ago to gain their acceptance? If you consistently feel like you have to carefully curate your conversations, filter your genuine opinions, and censor your unique personality around certain people, those relationships are tragically not nurturing your true self. They are actively demanding its suppression and conformity. True, soul-level connection happens only when mutual vulnerability meets unconditional acceptance. If you feel consistently judged, deeply misunderstood, or required to constantly censor yourself to maintain the relationship, you are sailing in misaligned waters that will eventually sink your happiness. Remember this crucial fact: trying to force a square peg into a round hole is not only impossible, but profoundly exhausting. If you find yourself repeatedly changing your style of clothes, abandoning your favorite hobbies, or even subtly altering your core political or moral opinions just to perfectly mesh with the current crowd you are with, you are tragically prioritizing fitting in over the vital act of being yourself. This leads to a pervasive, hollow sense of profound loneliness, even when surrounded by hundreds of people. Ironically, the more desperately you try to belong by abandoning your true nature, the emptier and more isolated you ultimately feel inside. The greatest, most liberating irony of life is that true, sustaining belonging only happens when you are brave enough to stand alone in your unapologetic authenticity. Let's discuss sign number 5, perpetual cynicism, and simmering resentment. This is precisely where the ignored emotional toll shows up on the surface. When you systematically ignore your true self and your heart's desires, resentment starts to build up within you like toxic, hardening sludge. You might find yourself becoming perpetually cynical about the world, overly judgmental of others who are pursuing their ambitious dreams, or deeply angry at the world for seemingly no reason. Why does this happen? Because you are subconsciously angry at yourself for not having the courage or discipline to prioritize your own, genuine life path. That sharp, sarcastic, and cutting edge you use to defend yourself and protect your ego is often just deflected self-criticism, a harsh judgment you are too afraid to direct inward, so you project it outward. This intense internal conflict, the simmering rage, the pervasive sadness, the heavy apathy is essentially your psyche fighting back hard against the suppression. Your soul is constantly saying, I promised myself when I was younger I would achieve X, but I'm hopelessly stuck doing Y because it feels undeniably safer and more comfortable. This devastating psychological battle drains every ounce of your emotional and creative energy completely. If you consistently feel like you're always fighting against some unseen force or barrier, take a moment to look inward and check if that something is actually the mental prison you painstakingly built between your current mundane reality and your magnificent potential reality. Sign number 6 is the incredibly common and paralyzing I'll be happy when syndrome. We have all participated in this destructive thought pattern. I'll finally be happy when I get that huge promotion, or I'll finally start truly living my life when I hit that crucial savings goal. You constantly and automatically defer your potential happiness and joy to some uncertain future milestone that may never materialize. When you systematically postpone joy and fulfillment, you are sending a clear, cruel message to your true self. You don't deserve fulfillment, satisfaction, or peace right now. This deferral is a profound and damaging act of self-rejection. Your authentic self understands that joy is a continuous, present process, not some distant destination. Waiting for permission to be happy means you are waiting for external circumstances to validate your internal state, and that validation, I promise you, will never arrive. And here is the cruelest, most frustrating part of this syndrome. As soon as you manage to hit that self-imposed goal, the goalpost inevitably moves further away. You achieve the promotion, and suddenly you realize you urgently need the corner office to feel complete. You finally buy the dream car, and 3 weeks later, the new, better model comes out, leaving you feeling dissatisfied again. That fleeting, brief satisfaction you experience is definitive proof that external achievements, no matter how grand, simply cannot fill an internal, existential void. If you absolutely cannot find simple satisfaction, appreciation, or joy in the now, no future magnificent achievement will ever magically conjure up or reveal your authentic self, no matter how hard you chase it. Let's touch on sign number 7. The profound loss of playfulness and childlike curiosity. Think back deeply to yourself as a child. What activities did you absolutely love to do without reservation? What made time melt away effortlessly? When we aggressively suppress our true self and conform to rigid adult expectations, we tragically lose our innate sense of curiosity, wonder, and playfulness. Life quickly becomes a grim, transactional series of inescapable obligations, tedious tasks, and endless to-do lists. Authentic living, by its very nature, is creative, expansive, experimental, and sometimes messy. If your current life feels strictly transactional, completely devoid of genuine, spontaneous joy, creative exploration, or the sound of uninhibited laughter, you have likely locked up the playful, curious part of your soul, the part that instinctively knows what truly makes you feel vibrantly alive. A powerful tool is the inner child check-in. If your inner child could suddenly talk to you right now, what would they truthfully say? Would they even recognize you beneath the layers of adult seriousness? Or would they ask, "Wait, why are you wearing that rigid suit? Where is the paint, music, writing, spontaneous adventure?" Allowing yourself moments of non-productive, pure joy simply doing something because it brings you genuine delight, without a goal, is absolutely critical for restoration. If you constantly feel the need to rationalize every single action based only on productivity, utility, or potential income, you are tragically defining your entire worth by your output and usefulness, not by your divine essence. Finally, let's revisit the body with sign number 8. Unexplained physical ailments. Unresolved emotional distress and profound spiritual misalignment often manifest physically in the body. Chronic tension headaches, severe stomach issues, unexplained back pain that doctors can't diagnose, and persistent anxiety attacks. These are the loud, non-negotiable screams of the soul being held captive against its will. Your body is a highly accurate messenger. It cannot lie to you. When you persistently silence or ignore your emotional voice, the body takes over the communication job as a last resort. Please do not dismiss recurring physical pain or discomfort as just simple stress. It might very well be your incredible body begging you, urging you, to finally address the deep, pervasive misalignment in your spirit and in your life choices. So, you see yourself reflected clearly in many of these powerful signs. What exactly should you do now? The single most crucial first step is radical honesty with yourself. Not harsh judgment, but gentle, kind observation. Stop the relentless self-criticism immediately. Start asking yourself this simple but profound question. Is this specific action or decision truly reflective of my deepest, most cherished values? The road back to your true self is not a massive, overwhelming sprint. It's a series of gentle, committed micro-corrections over time. Start small. Choose just one thing today that you genuinely want to do, even if it feels incredibly selfish or completely unproductive in the traditional sense. Begin creating vital space for silence and profound introspection every single day. Turn off all the external noise for 30 dedicated minutes and just listen patiently. Journaling can be an incredibly powerful, transformative tool here. Write down the intense desires you are most terrified to admit to anyone else. Who are you when absolutely no one is watching your performance? What do you secretly dream about in the quiet of the night? Reclaiming your true self means giving yourself complete, unconditional permission to fully honor those quiet, often forgotten dreams without feeling the crippling need for external validation or detailed justification. The fear of showing your authentic, vulnerable self to the world is ultimately the universal fear of profound rejection. But here is the profound, liberating truth, friends. The world honestly does not need another mediocre imitation. It desperately needs your unique, messy, beautiful truth to light the way. When you bravely step into your authentic power and embrace vulnerability, yes, some people will inevitably drop away because they only like the old, convenient, contained version of you. But the deep, resonant connections that bravely replace them will be true, sustaining, and soul-affirming. Have the courage, my friends, to be seen for who you genuinely are, not who you pretend to be. Recognizing these painful signs is not a colossal failure. It is, in fact, the ultimate act of self-love and bravery. It is the exact moment you decide that your intrinsic happiness and self-respect matter infinitely more than catering to other people's temporary comfort or expectations. You possess the incredible power right now, in this very moment, to start pivoting back toward the life that truly lights you up and fills you with purpose. I genuinely want to know, which of these 8 powerful signs resonated with you the most deeply? Let me know your thoughts and your journey in the comments section below. If this video deeply shook something loose in your heart, please hit that like button It genuinely helps this crucial message reach other beautiful, struggling souls who desperately need to hear this same truth. And if you are truly ready to commit to living an unapologetically authentic life, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next empowering deep dive. Share this video with anyone you know who needs a powerful permission slip to finally be themselves. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your precious time, and for sharing your incredible energy. Keep seeking your truth, friends. Until next time, take care.